There was a time when things excited you. A new game, a favorite show, a song you couldn't wait to hear again, a Friday night that felt electric. Remember that? Now, it's just kind of gone. You open the same apps, watch the same shows, scroll the same feed, and you feel almost nothing. Not sad exactly. Not happy either. Just gray. Flat. Like the color drained out of everything when you weren't looking. You sit there, phone in hand, technically entertained, and somewhere underneath it all is a quiet, hollow question. Is this it? Why doesn't anything feel exciting anymore? And maybe a scarier thought sneaks in behind it. What's wrong with me? So tonight, let's actually answer that. Because the answer is not that you're broken or empty, or that the best part of your life is somehow behind you. The answer is that something very specific happened to your brain, and the good news is it can be undone. First, the thing you need to hear, it's not just you. This flat, colorless feeling has quietly become one of the most common experiences of modern life. Psychologists even have a name for this specific in-between state. Not depression, not joy, but a kind of empty blah, and they call it languishing. It's the feeling of being stuck in neutral, running, but not really going anywhere, functioning, but not feeling. And millions of people are living in exactly that gray zone right now, wondering the same thing you are. So whatever this is, it is not a character flaw, and it is definitely not a sign that something is permanently wrong with you. It's something that happened to you, and once you see how, you can start to turn the color back on. So let's talk about the thing actually running this, a little chemical called dopamine. Now, most people think dopamine is the pleasure chemical. It's not quite. Dopamine is the chemical of wanting, of anticipation, of looking forward to things, of that little spark that makes something feel exciting. It's the buzz before the reward. And here's the key. Your brain has a baseline level of it, a kind of normal, resting amount that everyday life is supposed to nudge up and down in gentle little waves. A good meal, a nice chat, finishing a task, small, steady ups. That's what a life with color feels like. But here's what's happened to us. We now live surrounded by things engineered to blast that dopamine system harder than anything in human history. Endless scrolling feeds, where every swipe might bring a new hit. Super sweet, super salty food designed in labs to be irresistible. Games, notifications, instant everything, 1,000 exciting things one tap away, all day, every day. Your brain was never built for this much stimulation. It evolved for a world of occasional, hard-won rewards. And now it's getting flooded with them, constantly. So what does your brain do? Exactly what it's designed to do. It protects itself. This is the part that explains everything. When your brain gets hit with too much dopamine, too often, it does something clever and devastating. It turns down the volume. It actually reduces the number of dopamine receptors, dialing back its own sensitivity, trying to find balance. Scientists describe it like a seesaw between pleasure and pain. Push the pleasure side down hard enough, again and again, and the brain pushes back just as hard to level it out. Therefore, your baseline, your normal, resting level of feeling, slowly drops. And here's the cruel result. The big artificial hits, the scrolling and the sugar, still barely register now. But the small, real, beautiful things, a sunset, a walk, a good book, a conversation with a friend, those gentle pleasures can't possibly compete anymore. They're too quiet. They land below your new, numbed baseline. So they feel like nothing. Do you see the trap now? You overstimulated the system, so it went numb to protect you. Therefore, ordinary life stopped registering. And so, desperate to feel something again, you reach for even more stimulation. More scrolling, more snacks, more noise. Which numbs you even further. Which makes real life feel even grayer. It's a treadmill, and every lap turns the color down another notch. You're not chasing happiness anymore. You're just chasing the feeling of feeling anything at all, and it keeps slipping away. The wanting got so overfed that it stopped working. You broke the spark by overusing it. And there's a second, quieter thing we lost along the way: anticipation. Think about how excitement used to work. You waited a whole week for the next episode of a show, and that waiting built the thrill until it was almost unbearable. You saved up for the thing you wanted, and the wanting itself was half the joy. You looked forward to things, and looking forward, it turns out, is where a huge amount of our happiness actually lives. But now, everything is instant. The whole show drops at once, so you binge it in a blur and feel oddly empty after. Anything you want is one tap and one day's delivery away. There's nothing left to look forward to, because there's no gap between wanting and having anymore. And we close that gap on purpose, because waiting feels inconvenient. But in killing the waiting, we accidentally killed the savoring. We also forgot how to simply enjoy a thing once we have it. We photograph the meal instead of tasting it, half-watch the movie while scrolling, rush through the good moment to get to the next one. So even when something nice does happen, we barely let it land. We overfed the wanting, and we starved the savoring. And a life with no anticipation and no savoring is, almost by definition, a gray one. And this is where it gets genuinely lonely. Because the gray is sneaky. You go through your days doing all the things you used to love, and they just don't land. You laugh at the joke, but don't feel it. You relax, but never feel rested. You forget, slowly, what excitement even felt like. And the scariest part is you can't even feel scared about it, because the part of you that would sound the alarm has gone quiet too. You start to wonder if maybe you're just a person who doesn't feel things strongly anymore. If maybe this flatness is just who you are now. And that quiet resignation is the heaviest part of the whole thing. So, take a breath. Because here is the turn, and it's the part that changes everything. You have not lost the ability to feel joy. You haven't used it up. There is nothing missing inside you. Your dial is just turned down, temporarily, by a world that's been screaming at it all day for years. And dials, unlike broken things, turn back up. Your capacity for wonder, for excitement, for that electric Friday night feeling, it's not gone. It's just buried under noise, waiting for the noise to stop. And the fact that you're sitting here missing it, aching for the color to come back, is the surest possible proof that the color is still in there. And once you understand it's a numbness problem, not a you problem, the way out finally makes sense, and it's almost funny how simple it is. You don't need more excitement. You need less. You need to let your overstimulated brain rest, get bored, and slowly recover its sensitivity. Scientists sometimes call this a dopamine reset, but really it's just letting life get quiet again. Putting down the phone on purpose for a while. Letting yourself be bored. Actually, properly bored, with nothing to swipe. Doing slow, boring, low-stimulation things. A walk with no headphones. Sitting with a cup of tea. A real conversation, staring out a window. At first it feels unbearably dull, because your baseline is still low. But give it a little time, and something quietly miraculous happens. The seesaw rebalances. Your baseline climbs back up. And then, one ordinary day, a normal small thing, sunlight on the floor, a song, a friend's laugh, suddenly hits you, and you feel it again. The color comes back. It always does, when you stop drowning it out. And be patient with the first stretch, because here's the honest part. At the very beginning, when you put down the loud stuff, things often feel even grayer for a day or two. That's not failure. That's the withdrawal, the seesaw slowly rebalancing, the proof that it's working. Push gently through that dull patch, and what's waiting on the other side is a world that feels vivid again, where a cup of coffee, a walk in the cold, a quiet evening, can actually move you. The bar for joy doesn't have to be a fireworks show. Once your baseline heals, ordinary life is enough. It always was. But before any of that, here's the part one most want you to hear. The fact that everything feels gray doesn't mean you're shallow, or ungrateful, or somehow hollow inside. It means the exact opposite. It means you have been overstimulated, overworked, and overloaded for a long time. And a numb brain is what a tired, overwhelmed brain looks like when it's been trying to cope. You're not a person who's lost the capacity for joy. You're a deeply feeling person whose feelings got buried under too much noise. The very fact that you can still remember when things felt alive, that you long for that, proves your heart is still fully intact, just waiting for a quieter room. You're not broken. You're flooded. And the flood goes down. So tonight, instead of reaching for one more hit of something loud and bright, Try the brave, boring opposite. Set the phone down. Let the room go quiet. Let yourself feel a little bored, and trust that the dullness is just your brain slowly healing. You don't have to chase the spark. You just have to stop drowning it and let the small, real, quiet beauty of an ordinary life slowly get loud enough to reach you again. It will. The color is still there. It's just waiting for you to turn the noise down. And if this hit a little too close to home, that flat, gray, is this it feeling? You are so far from alone in it. There's a whole crowd of us, learning to feel things again, together. So stick around. We make these for nights like this. Take care of yourself, and let the world get quiet enough to surprise you.